Hey, what's up guys? It's Royalty and today I'm going to teach you how to air out. Alright, when you're first learning how to air out, you want to learn how to air out on something like this big or even smaller or a little bigger, but definitely something very small. You don't want to just go straight to a really tall ledge, or not ledge, but quarter pipe. And all the years of riding, I've learned that there's two different ways to air out, and you can go like literally straight up and down, or you can like float it out like that. And I like to go straight up and down, so that's how I'm going to teach you guys, because when I float it, I don't really go as high for some reason. It's just been like that for me, but it might not be like that for you, so you might want to try it the other way. Just try both ways and see which way is better for you. All right, first thing you're going to want to do when you want to get air is pretty much like let your front wheel like ride off the coping, like barely even pull up off of it, and then kind of just manual up the quarter. I can't even get my bike all the way up there, but you want to manual up the quarter and let your back wheel kind of just like bonk the coping just a little bit. And you want to be like really light with it, because if you're like a little too heavy with it or you bunny hop too hard, you're gonna go to flat, and that's something you don't want to do. When you first start airing out on something like this, you don't want to really even try to go too high. Just try to get over coping and just do that double wheel hit the coping technique that I told you guys. Just get really used to feeling how it feels when you go over coping and you pretty much ride off the coping with both your wheels. Like, don't go up it and just let your front wheel bonk the coping, because you won't really go high like that. Even a quarter pipe like this big right here is a good quarter pipe to start off with, just really low airs, and then from there you just kind of just slowly start pushing yourself and going a little faster to go higher and higher, and you start to get more and more used to airing out and stuff. Once you start going pretty high on the quarter, there's definitely two things that's going to happen. You're either going to go to flat a few times, or you're going to case the coping pretty hard a few times too in the learning process. But if you listen to what I tell you, you won't really get hurt when this stuff happens. All right, so let's say you're going up really high and you got a case. Like, you're gonna feel it too. You'll know as soon as you leave the coping, you know you're gonna case. And when you know it's gonna happen, all you gotta do is like literally like right before your back wheel hits the coping, just kind of like compress your legs in a little bit, so the bike like, or like the force doesn't like buck you over the bars. If you compress your legs like into the impact of casing, it really just kind of just lets you ride off with a nice fat case. You might even pop your tire or something. This trick is definitely like something you got to get used to. You should definitely wear a helmet too for this one, because it's definitely weird, you know, especially when you're first learning it and you don't really know what you're doing. You definitely want to be careful with this trick. It's not so simple. It seems like it's really simple, but it's very easy to like land a little bit too back wheel heavy and just fall back really hard on your head or something. So that's why I'm telling you guys, you should definitely wear like a helmet or something. All right, let's say you're gonna land flat pretty heavy. All you gotta really do is just tuck in a little bit. Like, pretend you're jumping down a staircase and you want to land back wheel extra heavy so the impact doesn't hurt your wrist. And it really helps out a lot, because if you go straight to flat and you land like front wheel first, it's gonna really hurt like pretty bad. Like, you might bend your wrist, you might even flip forward, you might do a couple things that you wouldn't really expect from airing out. All right. That was like a disaster. Ooh, you heard my sprocket hit? Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. All right, another thing I gotta say is, in order to air out really high, you're definitely gonna want to ride at least like 60 psi in your tires. But that's definitely not what I ride. I ride like 40, maybe less than that. I literally ride like whatever my bike is on, and I never really put my tires up more than 50 psi because I like the way it feels when my tires are flat for some reason. But I still get over coping and shit, you know. But it's definitely, when you're riding like 100 psi in your tires, it definitely just like shoots you up a quarter. I used to ride 100 psi in my tires, and it's definitely a way different feeling airing out a quarter with that much air in your tires. So if you want to go like extra high, like fucking Tom Dugan high, I'd say you definitely ride like somewhere in between like 90 psi or something like that. I don't air out that high though, so you guys should probably watch another air out video for that shit. Another thing I gotta say is, when you're going up to the quarter pipe, you're gonna want to pump the transition coming up. So as you're coming up, you get even more speed to go higher. It's definitely something that's a little scary to do at first, but you'll get used to it, and then eventually going decent high isn't as scary. I don't know how the hell Tom Dugan goes so fucking high when he airs out. That motherfucker is something else. But I know how to air out like decent high. I don't try to fucking go higher than buildings and shit. To pump the transition coming up the quarter pipe, all you really have to do is like kind of like bend your legs a little bit and kind of like go into manual, kind of, but not really manual. Your front wheel's still on the ground, but it feels like you're about to go into manual, and then you air the coping. But you definitely want to be careful when you do that too, because when you hit coping and you're still in that position of pumping the transition, if you hit the coping like that, it'll throw you to flat. So you definitely want to, like, as soon as you get to the coping and you feel your front wheel hit, stop pumping so hard, because if you don't, you'll go to flat, and it definitely hurts when you go to flat. You guys will see when you start trying this trick. It's definitely all about them baby steps with this trick. Like I say, before you go hauling ass out of quarter pipe and trying to go really high on it, you should definitely just go like a foot over the coping, and then try to go like 2 feet, and then try to go 3 feet, and just keep going like that. And as you do that, you get more and more comfortable of knowing what will happen if you hit the coping wrong and you have to go to flat, or you have to case when you air out. Yeah, I got friends that air out like the very highest I air out, and they're just floating air. Like, they're not even really trying to air like that. So like, don't get discouraged by people they air out way higher than you, because some people just got like fucking raw talent and stuff. And I believe that, like, for me, I'm more of a street rider than park, but I definitely do know how to air out. And if you float it and you go decent high, it does look pretty clean, you know. And that's what I really like to do. I do know how to go very high, but I don't like to, because that shit is scary as hell. I don't know how these people are just like, they're crazy, you know. So I go decent high, and I like to like make my airs look very floating. You guys will see in a second. Hey. All right, one more thing I gotta say for this how-to is for quarter pipes that have vert to it, or like a foot of vert to it, like how this one has to it. You're gonna want to just ride off the coping. You don't want to really pull up off of it because it'll send you straight to flat. So you just kind of just ride off of it. And this goes for any quarter pipes that are any bigger than a regular size quarter pipe that doesn't have vert. It's definitely a little bit different airing out something that has a foot or two of vert on it. You want to just kind of ride off of it. You don't want to pull up, because I mean, you want to pull up, but like not much. Like you can literally just you can literally just like ride off the coping and just like pull your front wheel up and let your back wheel ride off the coping, and you'll go over coping. But if you pull too hard, you'll go straight to flat on something like this. It's not a very big quarter pipe, but it definitely has like some vert to it, so it definitely has like that like weirdness of when you air it out, you don't have to really pop at all. You just kind of like roll off of it. If you ever bunk like a curb or something a little bit smaller than a curb, it's just like that, going over coping and doing a 180, where you just float it and just be really light with it, and you won't go to flat, and you'll air out pretty good. Hey, my Vato said he's gonna air out. Popocing! Not air out like that. Huh? Not air out like that. Like go up the quarter pipe and come back in.
Oh, like.
Yeah.
I don't think like air out like that. Oh. Alright. Alright, I'm just going around these three then.
Alright. Woo! That's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned the trick. It's not really that hard. It just takes baby steps. Don't fully go in with this trick, because it's definitely one of those tricks that you can get really hurt on, and you definitely want to wear a helmet for this trick. Peace out, guys.
Angels on my shoulder, nigga. Hell no. NBF, mob ties, then my